and welcome to the Real Biz Life Chronicles, where we discuss all things business, branding, and life. I'm your host, Tracy Fryer. Now, in celebration of Father's Day, we have a very special guest in the house. I have known this person my entire life. He taught me my foundational values and life principles, and I believe he's one of the reasons I am the driven business owner that I am today. I remember him spending many a late night helping my brother, sister, and I with science projects and those awful trigonometry and algebra equations, which I'm sure not many of us miss. The next comments used to drive my ex partners crazy because when they couldn't fix something, I'd simply say, well, call my dad, because he's one of the few people that I know that if you give him time to think about it, he can actually fix or create anything that he puts his mind to. He's here today to share all his tips and secrets on what it takes to be a great dad. And I'm hoping he doesn't share too many of my embarrassing stories from growing up. But even if he does, I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to capture this moment in time with him and introduce you to Warren Coustas, my dad. Dad, welcome.
Thanks, Tracy. Good afternoon, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to join your podcast today. I'm so excited to share my knowledge with your viewers and listeners of what made me who I am today. I really want them to be successful, and if there's anything that I can do to help them achieve the success, it will give me great happiness.
Thanks, Dad. Well, I know you're one of the most hardworking people that I have ever met. And I'm not just saying that because you're my dad. You have a work ethic like no other. Dad, I thought what we could do is perhaps kick off. What was life like growing up for you? And how do you think this shaped the way you approach life and work?
All right, I'd say, look, growing up, life was hard, yet it was happy. Um, Many times we had to go without, as my mother was the sole breadwinner. And I think it's here where I said to myself, I'm going to be successful. Uh, yeah.
And for our listeners, my dad is one of 5 children. He is the oldest. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he's always looked after everyone from the age of 14, even up until now. He's always made sure that everyone is loved, cared for, and supported as well.
Well, I'm
Dad,
glad you think that way.
I definitely do. I definitely do. So, Dad, I think as well, as a father, what's one piece of advice you wish someone had given you before becoming a parent?
All right, I would say if somebody had told me this, it would have been great, but I figured it out. I said to be true to yourself, be loving, be honest, and take pride in what you do.
And I can hands down say you have taught us that. I was reflecting before this recording, and I was thinking, I always when we were growing up, I always used to think of you as extremely strict. But essentially, that's where you taught me
Yeah.
discipline. And at the time, I thought you were very, very hard. But now I realize that you were guiding myself and Matthew and Danielle to be anything but average. So thank you for that. At the time, I didn't realize, and I thought, oh my goodness, my dad's so strict. But you've really helped me become the adult that I am.
Yeah, well, it's a very fine line of being strict and being loving, I suppose. And
Hmm.
it's one finding that one you want to be loved, but you also want to help everybody along.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. And Dad, something I remember was you've also taught me, the value of actually working for something and not just having everything given to you. I remember when I wanted to have my ears pierced, you said, well, you can have it done provided you pay for it yourself. So, of course, I schemed a plan. And you let me weed the garden. So I think it was, do you remember? I think it was like 2 rand for every bucket of weeds that I got at the
Yeah,
garden.
yeah, yeah. Now I remember. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. And then I think Matthew wanted to
I
be on
miss those
board.
days. I miss those days now.
Oh, I'm a lot more expensive nowadays, not 2 rand.
I'll give you $2.
You might have to ask Matthias, your little grandson. But I
Yeah.
guess that what I'm wondering is, where do you know where to start teaching children those values about money and about money and how to actually work for something in their life? Because again, that I didn't realize at the time you were teaching me such a valuable lesson, which I've now taken with me into adulthood. And I always work really hard for anything that I want to achieve in life. When do you know to start teaching those lessons to your children?
Well, I think it starts from an early stage, teaching them values of being successful, and there's
Mm,
little prompts you put in beforehand, and yeah, I suppose it's from early stages. You don't want them to get to matric or whatever it is, and they just useless, expecting everything.
yeah.
That they should have values which they say, well, this is what my dad would do. I should do the same.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
And also, Dad, I remember you used to give us pocket money. So I think it was like 25 Rand a month. I know sometimes Matthew and I and Danielle all took a loan like in advance. But again, in teaching us that, were you kind of getting us used to the idea of, because I think it's like earning an income where you have a certain amount and then you need to, think of how you're going to spend that.
Yeah, it was basically teaching you the value of money. You can't just
Mm,
easy come, easy go type of thing. This is what you've earned, and how are you going to spend it? Are you going to buy fist pop suckers to sell at schools to make more money? Or what are you going to do? Go and do just go and buy sweets and chocolates and eat them. Yeah.
yeah. So for our listeners who don't know that story, so mom and dad would give us 25 Rand. And of course, I think this is again where my early business days started. So in about grade 10, I would go to Macro, which is like Costco, and buy a whole tub of fizz pops. So that's like a sucker that's got the sherbet in the middle. And I would take them to school. So I used my 25 Rand. I think I bought like 2 or 3 tubs of the suckers, lollipops. And then I'd go to school and I'd put an extreme markup on them. So I think I paid like 20 cents per fizz pop and I'd sell them for 2 Rand, which was great because the tuck shop was selling for 250. So I undercut the tuck shop. And yeah, so essentially I would use my 25 Rand to make a lot more money. So I think all up with the tub. How many were in there, Dad? Do you remember? Was it like 50 or something?
But I think 25, 30. I don't
Was
know.
it
I'm not. I didn't
25?
actually look at it. I
Yeah.
didn't
So
look at it,
anyway,
to be honest.
I think I ended up making about 200, it was about 200 Rand from 25 per tub. So
Yeah,
again,
well,
that's
you
where
see,
the,
that's business. That's business for you.
yeah. And at the time I didn't realize, but again, that's laid that foundation, for Design Studio Perth and the business that I have. So,
Yeah.
Dad, so as you know, the Real Biz Life Chronicles were all about showing mediocrity the middle finger. What's a time
Yeah.
you took a bold stand, even when it wasn't easy?
I would say immigrating to New Zealand. The values one has to give up in exchange for one's hoping to achieve. Like, you're giving up your family, but on the other hand, what would New Zealand be able to offer you, and
Mm.
Australia for that matter? Well, yeah, it's one set of values for another, but I think the going to New Zealand was a better option.
Yeah. So, again, for our listeners, my parents, well, our family have immigrated 4 times. We've gone from South Africa to New Zealand. My youngest sister had struggled with her health in New Zealand because of the climate, back to South Africa. And then, due to the crime, we moved back to New Zealand. And then, dad so bravely packed his suitcase after being in New Zealand for 6 years. Was it, Dad?
Yeah, till we got citizenship, which was about 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dad packed his suitcase and came over to Perth and bravely found a job. But then my sister, so my mom and my sister, and then my brother and I eventually followed. So, yes, immigration is a very full on process. And Dad, I guess
Mm.
for mom and you, I mean, well, for all of us, I mean, we were children. What was it like leaving the family behind?
Yeah, actually, to answer each one individually,
Mm,
the first time we left South Africa to New Zealand, number one that upset us was the crime and violence in South Africa and the low value for life, because your life means nothing. They'll kill it
mm,
just like that type of thing.
yeah,
Um, Added to that, it was a financial burden, which I could sort of foresee from a bit of business degree that I came from. Uh, we could see what was happening, the decline of a high economic society, which South Africa was, to what will become of my family as they mature.
mm,
And I think you can see that your life here is a lot better than what it was in South Africa.
definitely.
Yeah, so then we went back to South Africa, and I don't know if you remember this, but I noticed the sadness and happiness on you guys' faces. As a
Mm,
matter of fact, I even got a photo up there, and I said, "Look at you there, Tracy.
mm,
Um, you're not happy, and you were
yeah,
missing your family and your grannies,
mm,
which your grannies are, coupled to the
yeah,
fact that that Danielle, youngest daughter, had health issues and was suffering due to eczema. Uh,
mm,
and, yeah, so you guys missed the people that meant so much to you. So we said, no, well, let's go back. So we
yeah,
went back. Then we returned to New Zealand again, as one of the grannies was no longer with us. And on a personal level, um, Tracy, you were in a smash and grab. I don't
mm.
know if you
I
remember
was.
that.
Yes, you cannot forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, you were in a smash and grab, which wasn't good. I mean, this was
Mm,
now on it personally affecting us.
yeah.
And Matthew was hijacked. He got held up at
Mm,
a knife point for his bicycle, which is something that it was his pride and joy. I mean, his
yeah,
bicycle
shame.
was sleeping next to him in his bed. That's
I did. I
how
forgot
much
about that.
it meant to him. And now
Yeah.
he basically it was taken from him,
Mm, mm,
taken without asking. Then we left New Zealand for Perth because of Danielle's eczema. It wasn't
mm,
good in the damp climate, and she needed a hot, dry climate similar to South Africa. In fact, one of the sessions with the doctors there, he said that Danielle needs a hot, dry climate, unlike what New Zealand's got. New
mm,
Zealand is wet. So everything's green and lush, and that's because it's so wet. Uh, so, plus the fact that um, New Zealand did not have a good industrial infrastructure that Perth had to offer.
mm.
New
And your
Zealand
job
is
got
great.
made redundant as well, didn't it?
Yeah, they'd also got made redundant.
Mm,
Uh, Look, New Zealand is a great place for retirement, but
mm,
from an industrial perspective, you can't really make much money there. You just
mm.
happily plod along type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dad, I just want to touch on for our listeners. So smash and grab in South Africa is when you parked at a robot, which is a traffic light, and someone will come up to your window and they take a spark plug and they smash the window and it causes a vacuum and the entire window just shatters into 1,000 pieces. And I'd actually put my handbag on my back seat and it was about 5 o'clock in the evening. And yeah, guy came, smashed my window, grabbed my bag. He was in my window up to his waist. I put foot into the wrong oncoming traffic. Thank goodness there was no one there. And yeah, longest 10 seconds of my life. Eventually I let it go and he flung out of my window. So yeah, that's the smash and grab in South Africa. It often happens at the traffic lights. And Dad, I totally forgot Matt used to sleep with his bike next to his bed.
Yeah, no, that was his pride and joy.
Oh my goodness. Just as well he
So,
can't fit his car in nowadays. I think he'd probably
yeah,
sleep with his
well,
car there.
besides the fact that when it was bedtime, he would go under the blankets with his torch on and work on something mechanical. Yeah, no,
Yes,
good,
I
good
remember
guy.
that. Yeah, so for our listeners, my brother is a mechanic for Volkswagen in Osborne Park. And since he was like, how old, Dad? 3 or 4, 5, I want to say. How old was he when he
Yeah,
started taking cars apart?
yeah, about 5. Yeah, he's actually a master technician now, so he's
Yeah, yeah,
done
forgive
well.
me, Master Tech. Yes, he's
Yeah,
doing really well.
no, he
And
doesn't send
yeah,
him to Sydney for,
yes. And
also
he,
want to
he's
send him to Sydney to training and that. Yeah, not even in Perth. They
Yeah,
offer
he's
it.
had some wonderful opportunities. He used to take all the, electric cars apart and then, like, put them back together. And then so, yes, naturally, he became, a mechanic, and then he did his upgrade from there, and again, being in Perth, he had a wonderful opportunity to do his apprenticeship with Volkswagen, sorry, and, he's now sort of slowly starting to do his own thing on the side, which is nice. And what's even more funny is that his little boy is exactly the same, loves cars. He's absolutely obsessed, and he's all the 3.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no.
And Dad, looking back, what's one thing you're most proud of as a dad?
Um, mm, um, sorry, can I just right? I would say the most the best thing for me is the success and happiness of our children. The wonderful adults that they have become hardworking and admired. Makes me very proud.
Thanks, Dad. I, uh, I wanted to share as well a bit about Danielle. So Danielle is a very talented, baker and a cook, and
Yeah.
she's so great with children. And one thing about my parents is that they've always allowed us to embrace whatever it is that we wanted to do. For example, myself and my creativity, Matt and his cars, Danielle and, early childhood education and her baking. You guys never really try to steer us in the way of being a doctor, being a lawyer, being all those things that are associated with money.
Oh,
For
yeah, but
parents,
mm,
yeah, what were you gonna say?
you must. Sorry, I was say you must do what you want to do. Um, not what we want you to do. But I think you guys all chose well. I mean, Danielle is a what do you call it? Principal of a school now. Yeah. So,
Yeah, and she's doing really, really
mm,
well. I guess, Dad,
mm.
like, how do you know I know parents who do try, guide their children in the direction of being a lawyer or whatever. I mean, some people are meant for that, right? Do you just trust that that child's going to choose the right path, or how do you know when to give advice and when not to?
Well, as a parent, you can say, look, you will be a lawyer, but then they're going to be very unhappy at it, or they
Mm,
don't want to be a doctor. So, are they going to succeed at it? I'd say no. Rather do what
mm,
you want to do, because you'll say, well, and that's basically how I've looked at it. I've done what
yeah.
I wanted to do, and happy to see the results.
And
Yeah.
Dad, the next question. So, as business owners, we often talk about balancing work and family life. How did you manage it when you were juggling everything?
It was hard to prioritize, as you can't split yourself into hundreds
Mm,
of pieces. To time for the family, and also time for supporting them. You've got to give them both. And basically, there were many late nights for me of collecting plastic for
I
resale.
remember.
I
Mm.
would go around and pick up old scrap plastic and got a fair price. I think it was R2 a kilogram,
Mm.
and go to these furniture shops that have got plastic bags where the mattress came in, and you'd get a bit of money for that.
Mm.
So, there was that. And then I used to make burglar proofing and welding security doors. That was it was a niche market for South Africa,
Mm.
because it was something that was in demand. So, we made extra income there besides our normal day-to-day job. Yeah.
And I remember as well, Dad, you always had a project on the go. So if you weren't, renovating the house or building something, you'd always teach Matthew and I. Like I even remember you taught us how to lay the bricks and grout.
Yeah. I've still got projects on the go today.
Actually, you do. Yes, Dad does not know when to stop. He's fallen through the
Yeah.
roof a couple of
I,
times, and he drives my mom crazy. But he's always on the go.
I just like being creative. Just
Yeah.
I suppose that's also why I took up a trade, because you actually can see something that you made. Whereas if you're writing it down on a piece of paper, you could just throw the piece of paper away. It doesn't really mean much. But you can
Mm.
stand back and say, "Well, I actually made that." And me,
And Dad, I remember there was a lot of times, and I only realized now as an adult, obviously, that there was a number of times that Mom and you went without so we could have. For the
Mhm.
parents out there who are struggling and, they just think, "Oh my gosh, is this ever gonna end?" Because, life's expensive, everything's got expensive. What advice would you give them during those very, very hard times?
um, you know, you got to take it on board, and there's a purpose for all of this.
Mm,
The support for loved ones and pride in in one's achievements,
mm.
I would say. Mm.
Yeah, I think just reminding oneself of that sort of purpose, and I also would like to remind myself that this too shall pass, it is only temporary. How long it lasts for, no one's sure,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah, when everything is getting me down, I just visualize a stop sign in front of me. Stop.
Mm. Yeah, that's a great one. And,
Yeah.
um And Dad, also you're, quite the musician. I remember growing up that our house used to sound like a pub with Marshall, the other sibling who's your amp and your guitar collection. What
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
about what is it about music that you love and having that time out?
I just think it's something which you find happiness with.
Mm.
You play the guitar and yeah, is that really me? Type of thing. Yeah. you know. Mm. I
We,
mean,
we have
I
sorry,
wouldn't be
Dad.
a, I wouldn't be a musician. I mean, although I was in a band once, I can't see myself being a musician in a band. But yeah, just to be able to find that satisfaction is like watching TV. So I play guitar.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
all brings
Um,
about happiness in different ways.
I definitely think you could have been part of a band. I saw that 80s, curl fro that you had going and those bell-bottom jeans, so I definitely think you could have rocked it with Dave Youngman or Mark.
Yeah, no, we had a band going at one time.
Yeah.
I played guitar, and then I switched over to keyboard. Dave played drums, and then the other two guys that played bass guitar, and we used to get together and we have a couple of jamming sessions, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was great. Many late nights.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
And Dad, I know you mentioned, playing music, it brings you happiness. What else do you think is important that people have those things in their lives that takes them, out of work or even just briefly away from their family or gives them that time to themselves?
Sorry, can we just pause it for a second? Okay, so to me, hobbies and things like that, not everything is about money, you know.
Mm.
You can be this guy that hits around this little white ball on a Sunday in their own time and not get any money for it, or you can find a crossword puzzle that you may want to do. You don't get paid for it, but it's just that satisfaction of pride and achievement that you get
Mm.
from doing those
Yeah.
things. Okay.
And Dad, what's one mistake you've made, either at work or in life, that turned out to be a valuable lesson for you?
Uh, I'd like to try and be observant on things.
Mm.
Maybe it's something I didn't always have. Try and plan ahead to avoid any disappointment. I just find that
Mm.
you get the upper hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing I've learned, to definitely try and be as prepared as possible. Because I even find when you do plan ahead, it really just puts you in a better frame of mind as well. You don't feel so rushed or erratic as well.
Yeah, you can say things like what if,
Yeah.
and yeah.
And Dad, if you could go back in time and relive one moment from our family's past, what would it be and why?
Hard question, but anyway, throughout the family's growth, there's been good times and there's been bad times. In each
Mm,
chapter of their lives, to me, I would rather concentrate on the positive than the negatives.
yeah.
And for example, when we were when you were growing up, we were struggling to make ends meet, but yet we were
Mm,
very happy. You
yeah.
know, um, today maybe it's the other way around, but yeah,
Yes.
we battled, but we were happy.
Mm.
And what's the family all about?
Yes, no, we definitely were happy. There's one memory I have of you. So I had just got my license, and shame Granny Lou had passed, and then Mom inherited a car. So I was, driving Granny's car, and I think it was like a Thursday night or something. I was 18, so it was all legal in that. And I think I said I was going to a friend's place. Anyway, my friends and I went to a nightclub, and I remember I drove them because I was super cool now. I had my license. And I remember, I think I had like a curfew or something. And I remember walking out of the nightclub. Oh, you tried to phone me. And I remember walking out of the nightclub, and yeah, you were waiting for me in the car park.
Gosh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that brings back memories. Yeah,
Oh, dear.
yeah, okay.
And I think the other ones were just like great family holidays with the caravan. Matt and I could never understand why Mom and you wanted to get up at 5 a.m. every morning when we went camping or, with the caravan. But now as an adult, it's
Yeah,
actually really great to get up early and make the most of the day.
yeah. Well, your holiday begins when you leave your door, not when
Yeah.
you race to get to where you have to. That's not when the holiday starts. It actually starts
Mm.
at leaving your front door. Yeah. Mm.
And Dad, so on the podcast, we talk a lot about growth and success. How do you personally define success at this stage of your life?
I'm happy with the way my life has turned out, and that I've put in hard work, and it's paid off.
Mm.
There are a few key points that I like to live by every day, and these will be namely, pride and motivation. Take pride in what you do. It's not all about money.
Mm.
Uh, I I did an MBA a while back, and my thesis was on motivation. I've
Mm.
still got the book here.
Oh,
And
great.
what what I had in there was a questionnaire, which obviously did a bit of a study, a survey of people, and I said, "What is it that motivates you?"
Mm.
And I'll just tell you the questions that I asked.
Yeah, please.
The questions that I asked participants to list the following in order of their preference were job satisfaction,
Mm.
appreciation of work done, friendly and helpful co-workers, money, advancement, interest and creativity work, company to be proud of and with rules and structure, a good working conditions, security and long-term relationships, benefits and tangible rewards. What
Mm.
ranked at number one was job satisfaction. You know, you
Right.
really wanted to be. And appreciation of work done was number two,
Mm.
which, it does feel good to know that you appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, definitely.
number three, friendly and helpful co-workers. And money ranked at number four, which proved my hypothesis for
Yeah.
my study. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's not all about money. There's other parts of life that are more important than money. Money
Mm.
helps.
Definitely.
It's not the be all and end all, yeah.
Yeah. And I think you've
Yeah,
touched on something very important there. And I think if one is motivated by money, I mean, yes, it's nice to have and it makes life easier. But I think if your primary focus is just money, I don't think you'll be I don't think you'll be very fulfilled or really enjoy what it is that you're doing because you're just chasing
yeah.
that dollar the entire time. And also
Mm,
people spend majority of their life at work. So it is really important to make them feel appreciated and valued as part of a team.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing, Dad. What we'll do is if you're happy, are you happy to share that question set with us?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Um,
we'll pop it in the show notes if we can. Otherwise, we'll pop it in our newsletter and people can have a look at that.
I can email that part to
Yeah.
you if you like. Or
Yeah.
yeah, I'll speak to you
Perfect.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can send it to
Okay.
us and then we'll pop it in the notes as well. And that'd be great.
Okay.
Great for everyone to have a I think it really just puts things into perspective as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So Dad, I think
What
sorry, what was that?
no, no. What motivates you?
Yes.
That's yeah.
Because I think if people don't feel motivated, the reality is that they're just going to feel extremely depressed and not want to get out of bed at all. So it's important to
Exactly.
find like if it's not a few things, at least that one thing that really motivates you. And a few of the listeners that
Yeah.
we've spoken to, and a lot of those sort of great thinkers in the world, they always say like it's my family that motivates me. It's giving back. It's show mediocrity the middle finger. There's that
Yeah.
bigger purpose to one's life that really does motivate one on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Um, so, Dad, we might have touched on this one. What's the biggest risk you ever took, and how did it shape you into the person you are today?
Um.
So, you mentioned your trade that you completed. You did an MBA,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah. I've got no regrets with the way life has turned out. Sometimes
Hmm.
I would have done different things. I would like to have shown more affection. I think, which is to my detriment, which would make me feel a better person overall.
Hmm.
Mm.
And why do you think it is, Dad, that you sort of hold back from showing affection, if you don't mind me asking? Even though I smother you with hugs and kisses, and so does
Now,
everyone else.
I said of myself, don't worry, I'm hard on myself with things like that because I just don't know what it is. But it's something I need to turn around and show more affection. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it was when I was in the army and you just didn't show affection. I don't know. I don't know what to put it on.
Yeah, and I also think from your generation, it wasn't okay to show affection. Like I think it's only the last sort of maybe 5 years it's been okay for men to actually show that they have emotions, and it is okay to actually hug
Yeah,
or show someone that you actually love them, because I think your generation was brought up that it's not okay and you're not a man if you don't always, act tough and be strong for
Yeah,
everyone else, even when you're falling apart on the inside.
yeah. Otherwise, they might see you as being weak. You know.
Mm, mm.
Mm.
And Dad, I know, but how long were you in the army for?
2 years.
And that was
2 years.
compulsory after school?
Yeah, what it was I was in for a year, and then all of a sudden they changed it to 2 years. So I had to sit the 2 years. You just didn't have any control over your life. You had to go to the
Mm,
army. And then there were camps that were after that, which I think I did one or two 1 month camps. Um, but it was hot. I didn't enjoy it that much.
mm.
It was nice. You learn things. You shoot with big cannons and guns, and as they call them.
Wow.
I mean, with these guns that we had, they shoot around and it goes 25 kilometers and
Gee.
blows up wherever. It
Yeah,
was a big part. But really, when you're standing guard on the weekend and all your friends are having fun,
yeah,
I
that
can
would
live with that.
suck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And, Dad,
mhm,
I hope you don't mind me sharing the next thing. Mom and you have been married for over 40 years. What do you
yeah.
believe is the key to a marriage of that length? Give me
JJ,
a few different things.
I've always had the belief that there's me, there's your mom, and there's a problem. I
Mm,
would try and concentrate on the problem rather than the person associated with the problem. I'd say, think of an example. Um,
emptying the trash.
Emptying the trash. Oh, yeah, there you go. It's your turn to empty the trash.
Mm,
That's, instead of saying maybe, look, the trash needs to be emptied. What shall we do?
mm,
Get on
mm,
your side, and it's both of you versus the problem.
mm.
That maybe that's not the best example, but yeah, it's certainly not me versus you, and that's who's going to be the winner at the end of the day. You
Yeah,
know,
so more
um,
more both let's both win kind of attitude?
yeah, let's both win and let the problem be the loser. Yeah,
Mm, I love
yeah.
that.
So
Thanks for
that's something
sharing, Dad.
that's something that I like to live by. Yeah.
And, Dad, I see, so the question is, what's a value or principle you've always taught us? And then you've got did you want me to answer that?
Yeah, just go on. Um,
So it just says, what's a value
I,
or principle that you've taught us?
yeah. Okay, go ahead, and I'll just add my comments at the end after
Do you want
hearing
me to
you.
share?
Yeah. If you can see, yeah.
So, we were brought up in a Christian home, so to always have faith, to always be respectful, especially of your elders. What else was there? Oh my gosh, there's so many. To work hard, to not take things, for granted or expect things to just fall into your lap. To value family. Family always comes first, regardless. There was a few, Dad. Do you want me to keep going?
No, you've actually hit the nail on the head. I've actually got the same answers. I said, like to hear if we're on the same track. I would say
Thank
family
goodness.
was. My answer was, I would say family was brought up in a Christian faith, the love
Mm,
and respect for family and friends, and to work hard. That
mm,
was going to be my answer. But I like
good.
you hit it on the,
I
I
passed.
think, the
Thank
nail on
goodness.
the head.
Dad, so if you could have one more conversation with someone who's no longer here, who would it be and what would you want to say?
Well, given the fact that this podcast is related to Father's Day,
Mm.
I'd say I would like to. Sorry, what is it? I would like to wish him Happy Father's Day.
Your
I
dad?
would say, yeah, my dad. My dad
Mm.
would be the person that I would. Sorry, my dad would be the person that I would talk talk to that is no longer with us. He had a
Mm.
wealth of knowledge and advice. He played piano very well.
Mm.
And yeah, because of this occasion, I wish I could wish him Happy Father's Day. Yeah.
And Dad, maybe for our listeners, you wanted to share a little bit about him. So I know he passed away quite young, so I never got to meet him. But he was an actor. He was very creative, very musical.
Yeah, he was an actor, yeah. He used to make a lot of his own compositions on piano.
Mm.
He spent a lot of time at the piano. And he taught me about, he was giving piano lessons at one stage, and I was fortunately one of the students. So I was a bit of a keyboard in those
Yeah.
days. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's just very knowledgeable
Mm.
and giving out advice. It was great to listen to him. I'd often look up to that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm a bit the same, with yourself. And if someone's just got such an interesting mind, it's just so captivating. Like you could just speak to them for days on end
Yeah,
because they've just got a wealth of knowledge, they've got experience, and they just so generously share that wealth of knowledge regardless.
yeah, it's like a magnet.
Yes, yes, definitely. Dad, so how do you what was that, sorry?
You just drawn to it.
Yes, 100%. And I think a lot of people, they don't realize how brilliant they are, and so they hold back all that wealth of knowledge. So it's great when someone steps into their full power of themselves and really shares that knowledge with not only their
Mm,
family, but
mm.
generations to come.
Yeah, yeah.
And Dad, how has fatherhood changed you over the years from when you first became a dad? I won't give my age away, until now.
Sorry, just say the question again, Trace.
Yeah. So, how do you feel fatherhood has changed you? So, from when I was first born, I'm not going to say the number or the years, until now.
Mm.
How do you feel that journey of fatherhood has changed you?
Um, I would say part of it was basically. mo- Sorry, can we just pause it there?
Mm. Yep.
Well, I'd like to be the dad that you guys can respect and look up to.
Mm.
Um, being and I try and be supportive in every possible way. So yeah, um, that's how I feel.
Yeah. And I think something I've noticed, obviously, I've known you my entire life. I think also,
Well, this is only
you've,
mine. Obviously,
you,
known you your entire life.
yeah, you can't escape me. You're stuck with me. So as we've obviously gotten older, I guess, one has to let go a bit more. Would I be right in saying that? When you obviously become a dad and, you have this baby that's very dependent on you, then as your children grow and become adults, you have to slowly like let go, right?
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. It's something that I thought I was always like the head of the house, and this is the
You
way it
still
is.
do.
But then, I mean, you guys have got your own little lives and your own little
Mm,
families where you sort things out for yourself, and you just got to step back and say, well, that as much as you want to be that in that situation, you just
mm.
can't. So you got to retract. Yeah.
And I guess what advice would you maybe give a parent who is struggling to maybe let go a little bit?
Um,
To trust more or
yeah, just to sort of help and try and be the dad that they can respect and look up to.
mm,
And being supportive in every way.
And Dad, when it comes to challenges, what's a challenge that you've overcome that you think defined a big part of who you are today?
Okay. There's a few things with the fear of risk involved in moving from the, the, the fear of risk. Sorry, Trace,
That's okay.
let
So,
me
just like in
repeat.
terms of your challenges,
Yeah,
was it
yeah,
the fear of risk?
yeah. Uh, there are a few with fear of risks involved in moving from South Africa to New Zealand.
Mm,
Uh, Completing a trade as a fit and turner, and then I advanced my career by doing a diploma and an MBA degree.
mm,
Immigrating to New Zealand, all of it cost time and money and
yeah.
sacrifices of giving up family time. And today, I'm proud to say that I'm successful at all that. You know, when you do a
Mm,
trade, you think, well, are you going to make the grade? And I was actually the second person in 13 years to pass my trade
wow.
at the
Amazing.
company.
That's great.
We
Yeah.
we had my trade. Yeah, yeah, I was worried. You know,
Yeah.
am I going to pass because there was one person that in 13 years, and then I was the second
Mm,
person. So that worked for me.
amazing.
And then I tried to work myself up the tier, and then I did a diploma in production management
Mm,
as well as diploma in materials management. And then I did an advanced diploma going up the tier again. And then I did an MBA degree.
I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So I sort of
Mm,
progressed up along the scale, and it meant a lot of sacrifices for giving a family time. Because I actually remember sitting by the computer one day, and you guys were all playing. You want me to come and play, and I'm working on this thesis, and I'm thinking to myself,
mm.
put it one side, come have fun.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's all worked up to the out for the best.
Mm,
You know, and today I'm proud to say that I'm successful as a result of
yeah.
it.
Mm.
Hmm.
So the hard work has paid off.
Yeah, definitely has. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
And I think something else with mom and you guys have always done everything to give us a better future and to always, make the family win as a whole.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you mean a lot to us. So why would we
Mm.
not want to invest our
Mhm.
time in you guys? You know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay.
So we've seen a lot of change in the world. What's one thing that excites you and one thing that worries you? So what's one thing in the world that excites you?
Um, technology technology advancement. Um,
Mm.
tech, tech, Technology advancement excites me because you see
Mm.
these new things and new gadgets and you think, "Oh, this is great stuff." You know,
Yeah.
like they make drones, for example. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's a wonderful thing, you know. And
Mm.
then also the part that worries me on that is, you know, the technology of drones, for example, if it gets into the wrong hands, can become
Yeah.
destructive. You know,
Mm.
and I suppose like with technology, you've got internet banking, and if it fails, if it gets into the wrong hands, you can get people that hack your money out. So
Mm.
yeah, you know, technology advancement excites me, but if it gets into the wrong hands, it can be destructive.
I mean, even with social media, and I think, technology in general, whilst it's meant for good, I guess like anything in life, right? It's meant for good, but sometimes it can become bad if you like if so, like social media, if you overuse it, you're on there too long, or like you mentioned, you can get hacked, and I think it's always
Yeah,
there's always people or even oneself who will make it a negative when it's meant to be a positive.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's great that they've come up with these changes. I really
Mm.
think it's wonderful, Yeah.
Yeah. And talking of technology, Granny Mary, your mom, is so tech savvy. She's now is she 88, Dad? 88, 89?
89, I think. Yeah, I think
89. So
89.
Granny Mary is on Facebook. She has a tray of remotes with all the different things. She's got her phone. She's very, very on the ball. I'm always so impressed.
Yeah, no, she's pretty good at
Uh-huh.
things like that. Yeah,
And Dad, lastly,
yeah.
what's one piece of wisdom you want to pass on to the next generation?
I would say be true to yourself,
Mm,
learn hard. Knowledge is key at the end of the day. Uh,
mm,
Take pride of your achievements in what you do. And like I said, it's not all about the money. For
mm,
example, that I mentioned earlier about the guy who gets around this little white ball doesn't doesn't get paid for it.
yeah, more for
Um,
enjoyment.
and or the crossword puzzle, they don't get paid for. Maybe they might win the
Mm,
competition, but they certainly don't get paid for their time.
yeah,
But it's a satisfaction of pride and achievement that comes with it at the end of the day. That you can
yeah.
stand back and say, "Well, I did that. I feel
Mm,
proud."
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Dad, thank you so much for all that you've shared today. And thanks for being a great dad. A big happy Father's Day to yourself and all the wonderful dads out there. And thanks for loving me. Thanks for putting up with me. I know we sometimes bump heads because we are so similar, but I love you
yeah,
and I hope you have a great day.
yeah. No, the feelings mutual, Tracy. I love you too, my girl. And yeah, I
And
suppose. No, no,
yeah,
say.
I was going to say you're rocking your Rolling Stones top there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Have a look. I think it's got all
very,
writing.
very cool. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Thank you. I'm musical.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not part of a band. Mhm.
Yeah,
Any
yeah.
final things you wanted to say, Dad, before we jump off?
Um, no, if anybody needs any help in whatever respect, like I said, I want people to be successful, and if there's anything I can help for them to achieve that success, give me a call, drop me an email, drop you an email, and you can pass
Yeah.
it on, and I'll certainly help out the wisdom and knowledge that I have. Yeah, but
Thanks, Dad.
it's not a sin to be successful. So
Mhm.
it's actually quite a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, Dad, because I think a lot of people fear success and it actually holds them back from achieving success. So I couldn't have asked for a
Uh,
better note to end the podcast on. And also,
thank
if
you.
anyone wants to learn how to rock a guitar, Warren is your man.
Yeah,
He has some mean guitar
I'll show you.
lessons. Oh,
Here's
there we
my
go.
hand.
That's Marshall, my other sibling. Have you got two now?
Yeah, yeah, I've
Two
got one
Marshalls.
electric one. Yeah, but I can't figure the thing out.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, one's electric, one's acoustic amp, and the
We'll have to get
guitars
a
are
demo sometime.
over here as well.
Oh, cool.
I think,
Oh, they're
can
in
you
the
see it?
cases, Dad? No.
Yeah, the taste, yeah, yeah.
Oh, very
Oh,
cool. Should have actually got you to bring it out. Maybe next time. I'll have to hook you up to the
Mm,
Roadcaster as well. It's really cool.
yeah. Mm,
All right, Dad.
yeah.
Thanks so much for you've
So
shared.
yeah, no,
Yes.
it's only been a pleasure.
All right.
Okay.
Take care. Love you.
Thanks a lot, then. Love you too, then. Thanks. Bye.